Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. Today I just want to talk a little bit about fundamentals of brains, or the component brains, B-R-A-I-N-E, brain, not B-R-A-I-N, brains, or strings that comprise the makeup of quanta. Of course, you don't have to go ahead and watch this video. This is my simplistic description of everything going on in a very general sense. Instead, you can go ahead and check out the quantum physics websites. They've got some great tech talks and all that kind of stuff. They go into great detail. And if that's this kind of stuff that helps you can get in the esoteric elements of the mathematics and everything involved, go for it. That's fine. I find that you really don't need to know much about the mathematics, the real details behind the theories, unless you're actually in those theories, studying them. All you need to know is the functional aspects of it. To put it in another way, instead of understanding how gasoline explodes in an engine when ignited by a spark plug, we're going to just talk about the fact that there's a car with wheels and a door and chairs that you sit in. Okay? So today is just going to be a brief introductory discussion, a little bit about quanta and how it is comprised of the smaller elements. And it's not a big deal. I think most of the people in the audience will understand what this is all about, and you don't need this stuff. So basically, again, we're talking about the makeup of quanta. Quanta tends to be something that's difficult to understand, especially brain theory or string theory. But I'm going to simplify it for you. The idea behind string theory is there is a singular shape at the smallest level that exists, and it is one basic shape. And they call it a string because it looks like a string. That's the theory. But for us, we're going to say it looks like a Lego. We're just going to say this is a representative of string theory. Okay? It's just a Lego. Now, what complicates things is in these theories, they talk about the orientation of it, or the flavors of it, or the colors of it. In this case, what it means is that there are other attributes that we don't understand. But this singular Lego, if you orient it or look at it in a different way, will become something different. I like to think of it in terms of colors. This Lego can become this Lego, or can become this Lego, or can become this Lego, or can become this Lego, and any other kinds of Legos, simply by orientation. And the orientation is a function of thought. So depending upon how you look at something, it will have a different flavor or a different color. Okay? So that greatly increases the types of strings or brains that you might have, these components that go into quanta. The orientation changes its color, and orientation change is a function of thought. Okay? So as thoughts are generated, brains change color. The components of the quanta, the Legos, change color. And they take on new orientations and new associations. And I've discussed this before. They start coming together in different and unique ways, forming all kinds of complex arrangements and complex arrangements. And some of these are so common, where the yellow and the green always connects in a certain way. It's become so common that they become a uniform building block within a universe. Here's the big kicker. Pay attention. The creation of a universe happens when an ISB defines the commonality of this association. They say this is the basic building block, the most fundamental quanta. And they build a universe around that. Our universe, for instance, might be this, while another universe might be this. This happens at a level beneath quanta. So in effect, the ISB is creating the defining quanta of the universe. Isn't that cool? Yeah, I think so too. So, for instance, this might be a defining quanta that's used in a universe, and we will represent it as this ball for our representative instead of always picking up this group of Legos. And that's how we think about things. All of this is a function of mind games, how we view things in terms of our mind, how we understand things in terms of our mind. It's how we think about things. It's how we ponder things. And as I said before, they can get to be very long and complex. And we define them as quanta, and we give them unique names as we discover and understand them. We have only touched Western science, or Eastern science. Science has only touched the very scratch, the topmost portion of the quantum reality. We've only touched it just briefly, and already it's an entire world. And I've recommended some books on this. The Intention Experiment by Talgert is one such wonderful work, and I've reprinted it on for all of you to read for free. But yeah, this is what it's about. Groups of quanta Quanta can then associate with other quanta, become friendly with it, stick with it. We visualize this in three-dimensional, as 3 dimensions and over time, but it's doing so in a state where there is no time and there is no physical dimensions. There's association. There are associations that come, and these associations as well. All these associations are repeatable and transcend time and space. Eventually, at some point in time, certain associations create intelligence or consciousness. Consciousness first, followed by intelligence. And that's what happened. So it took an enormous amount of time for all these things to come together and create consciousness. And then consciousness has started grouping together, okay, forming these lattices and communities of consciousness, which we refer to as, or domain refers to as is-be. Is-be is a consciousness. So let's suppose this group of consciousness, I'm just using 3, it's much larger, okay? But let's suppose this group of consciousness forms together and provides a cluster of materials for consciousness generation, which we will refer to this star shape. Looks like a snowflake. And from this cluster, we will define this as a soul. It needs a universe to sit in. So once it is so this is the is-be structure of consisting of high energy and low energy elements. The lower energy elements can be moved out of that. So the lower energy elements can be moved out of that, and the higher energy elements can go somewhere else. And as I've described before, this combination of the unified cluster of multi-consciousness can break down into individual consciousnesses, and that can be put within a universe, which we will refer to as a soul within that universe. All right? So in this case here, just for shits and giggles, this can be defined as this, just for shits and giggles and for purposes of determinations, some kind of pristine soul, which I have always and continually referred to using my glass jar narrative. Don't you know? Now, for reasons that I'm not going to get into right now, when it comes to domain, I use this heart container to represent domain. It's a shape that's well understood, and basically domain looks something like this. Domain has this core of high energy quanta that is associated with the lower energy quanta that surrounds it. And it looks something like this. In the center is the higher energy quanta, the basic core of the species association. Actually, there's no species with it yet. And then the lower dense the lower energy, density is not a good word, the lower frequency, the more cruder elements, our consciousness that surrounds it on the outside. This is domain. I hope that this video has been instructive and explains why I refer to things in certain ways and how things fit together in a grand scheme of things. I also hope that it helps you to understand domain a little bit better and the terminology that we refer to and how everything fits together. Like I said, it's very simple and very elementary. And if you understand it, you should give yourself some kudos and pats on your back, because what I'm talking about is very advanced, but only said so simplistically. I personally believe that if you can't explain things in a simple terms, then you don't understand them. Okay? You are too deep down. Okay? Simple terms, simple ideas, explained to you simplistically. Thank you for listening. And remember, no matter what happens, just know that I believe in you. I believe in your thoughts. I believe in your judgments. I believe in what you're doing and how you're doing it. I believe you have worth. I believe you are in the spot and in the place that you are supposed to be right now, and you're watching this because you're supposed to be. Whatever you do with it, it's up to you, but I believe that it's going to be useful to you. And with that, guys, take care, because I believe in you.
山水，用针浅浅手脚落叶之归，可怜落花口欲成。